Today on the Mud Peddlers is the Tuesday after NCECA.
Yes, the National Clay Education. I don't know the acronym.
National Council on Education for the Ceramic
Wow,
Arts.
you know the
I memorized
acronym.
it. Well, I memorized it because people were like, "Oh, what's NCECA?" Well, like, what's it stand for? And I'm like, National Clay.
I've been saying like the National Clay Education Conference Association, which is so far.
No, but I mean, like, it's essentially the same thing.
It's the same thing, but it's like not at all what it is.
Not exactly what it is. No, this is true. Well, we were basically debriefing because, holy balls.
It wasn't bad.
Bro, I was like, the fact that I'm able to speak is a miracle.
Yeah.
Because it was such.
We're a little burned.
Well, for me also, it was such like an immense experience.
Yeah.
Like, not so much like the conference itself, like, I didn't even go to that many panels, and we should talk about that.
No, I went to
but,
for
one. For me, it was mostly like the people that I met and the experience that I had, like, talking with people about everything was the most like cosmic experience.
It's surreal.
Yeah.
So we got stopped maybe once every like 10, 20 minutes.
Especially on the first day.
Yeah, the
on
first
the first day
was...
we got stopped a bunch, and it was really like I literally got stopped in the line to get my badge. Someone was like, "Oh, like, are you Lindsey?" And I'm like,
"Yeah."
Yeah. Well, first of all, actually, half the time I was like, "Yeah, do we know each other?"
Yeah,
Because I see doppelgangers all the time, and so I was like, I was like, "Okay, have I met you in person?" And she was like, No, like
I'm on Instagram. Also, don't for next year, don't come up to us and be like, "Oh, my name's Andrew." We don't know your real names. Your name is Muffmasher420 on Instagram. Like, you're like smokes every day 6'9". Like, I don't.
Yeah.
Just tell us your screen name.
Yeah, the screen names actually it's funny. I actually called out to someone being like, "Oh, are you the screen name?" Because it's true. It's like with Instagram, that's kind of how we see people. It's just for me, it's like my Instagram is my name, so it makes it a little easier for folks.
When I play video games, I don't even call people it's not taboo, but it's like you use my real name.
Yeah.
Like, I talk about like Frost all the time. If Frost has a real name.
Yeah.
But we don't say his real name.
Right, because his proper name is Frost.
Yes, but every now and then somebody says his real name. And the whole group was like, "Oh, disgusting.
Heathenry.
Call him by his God-given gamer name.
Exactly.
Please."
So what, for you, I'm so curious, what was your experience like? Okay. I guess part of me wants to be like, let's structure this so we'll have XYZ questions and then I'll answer them and you answer them.
We did not think about a structure.
We did not think about a structure beforehand partially because the brain power to do so is lacking. So we'll see how structured this ends up becoming. But essentially what we're going to be talking about is our just experience with NCECA, the people we met, the mug trades we did, if we went to any panels, etc., etc. And then what it was like being
I wouldn't say famous.
Yeah, no, famous is
I'd say popular.
Okay, well, I would say you're famous. You are famous.
They came up to... By the way, you guys, thank you for respecting my space. Because a lot of you came up to Lindsey first and then side-eye me, is it okay to come up to you?
Yeah.
And I think, you gotta treat me kind of like a dog that might bite you.
Yeah.
I probably won't. Mm-hmm. But
no, I actually there were a couple people who explicitly said I wanted to talk to Donte, but you said on the podcast to be more careful about it.
I really do appreciate it. I'm just not I just don't come from a place on this planet where you can just run up on me without me being you trying to fight? It just doesn't work that way with me.
Meanwhile, if someone comes up to me, I'm like, "Hi!"
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, there were a couple of people... There were a couple people who would stare at me, and my brain had to double check, you trying to run these hands, or do you recognize me? But we're at NCECA around a bunch of potters. No one's trying to run hands. So it was very strange. So I do really appreciate that for those of you who met me at NCECA, that you came up to me very gingerly.
Yeah.
Without quick movements. You know what I mean?
Yeah. On that same note too, it was really, really cool to hear a couple people say that they explicitly came, they decided to come to NCECA expressly because we said it. Natalie and Ray from Pouty Pottery, who I fangirl over her work, but so both of them came to the show that I was in, and then they kind of, from what I remember, kind of by accident. Yeah. But it was really fun because they were just we literally decided last night, essentially, to come to NCECA because we're are we gonna do it? Let's do it. And it was really, really fun.
It was a good time to go because it wasn't crowded at all.
Yeah.
So from what we were told, right, is that a lot of the companies pulled out because the paperwork takes so long to administer yourself into NCECA that by the time Omicron was at like an all-time high, most of the companies were like, I don't know. That doesn't seem... So the Exhibit Hall A, which is where all the big companies were, like a third of them weren't there. You know, like...
I actually heard that it was even smaller, like Tim C, because I got to hang out with Tim C.
We got to meet Tim C. What up, Tim?
Super cool dude.
He was nice to us. Thank you for being nice to us.
Yeah. No,
I'm always worried I'm going to meet like a top tier potter. And I'm like, oh, hey, I'm Donte from Earth Nation. They're going to be like, I know. You know, I'm so worried one day they're going to be like, I don't like your rants.
Oh my god.
Child.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That actually reminds me, side tangent, and I want to get back to what we were just talking about?
We were talking about NCECA. People decided to go right before because we mentioned it on the podcast.
Yes. And then there was something else. But I got to briefly meet Kurt Hammerly. Yeah. And it was like, I was just kind of like, I did like a double take. And then I was like, Hammerly?
Yeah.
And then we ended up like we're briefly introduced, and he was there with I think his brother and some people from the studio. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, like I'm Lindsey Dillon. He's like, oh, I follow you, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You follow me?
Yeah.
I mean, I kept it together, but that's what I looked like inside. So you know. And for our dear listeners who did not see what I just did. It's probably for the better.
Oh, by the way, I'm using my phone instead of my professional camera, but I think the phone might be better. If you're watching a YouTube video right now, leave down below in the comments, like, this is better quality, this is not. Like, give me your opinion.
Yeah, for Donte's side of the video, because I'm still using my regular phone, which I've always used for this, but yeah.
I'm very angry that my $1,000 camera on my, like, actual professional camera is probably not better quality than my, like, $500 phone.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
I'm livid.
Yeah. All right, so let's bring it in. Let's try and bring a little bit of structure to this, because apparently that's what I'm known for.
Yeah, no. There's definitely there were a couple people. I remember one person in specific.
Yeah.
Actually, there were like 4 of them, but one stuck out in my mind. That was like, I just recently became a teacher of the ceramic arts. I kind of didn't know what I was doing. Your videos helped me so much.
Oh.
She was just like, I just direct people towards your video all the time because half the time when I'm going to teach in class is already taken care of by you.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yes, that was my mission.
Oh, so I remember. Oh yeah, actually I remember that because for like a few minutes afterwards you were like pumped. You were like, yeah, like
yes.
I'm like the thing that I want to do is like
I'm your real dad.
Oh boy.
Let me teach you something, kid.
Pot daddy, isn't that your
Clay daddy?
Clay daddy.
Clay daddy.
Clay daddy.
Because a couple people call me like. There's like 2 or 3 people on my Instagram that ask me questions and I answer it and they're like, thank you, Clay Daddy. And I don't have the heart to be like, don't call me Daddy. But the other part of me is like, just whatever. Just
let it happen.
It's not like I love it, but it's not like I'm like, it's disgusting. I'm
everybody else loves it.
It's true now.
Just let us have this.
Yeah, I don't like birthday parties, but I get that you're throwing a birthday party for you.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna let you come to my birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my birthday party is not about me. I get it.
Yeah.
We met some awesome people.
Yeah.
We met some amazing people, and the first day was like every 10-20 minutes.
Yeah. It was really fun, and it was cool. Like I think one of the things that I enjoyed too is that like, you know, my only other so I've been to like 2 different like styles of like conferences or conventions.
Yeah.
One is anime conventions, obviously, and then I also went to a like specialty coffee convention when I worked at Chocolate Fish Coffee Roasters. They like flew us up to Seattle for this big like. I'm actually forgetting what that conference is called now, but anyway.
If they don't call it Coffee Con, I'll be pissed.
They didn't call it Coffee Con. It should have been Coffee Con.
How was that not? I don't even coffee and like.
Disappointing. It had some official fancy sounding name, but
Bean Con or something.
But it was really fun to like walk in and be like, oh my god, there's Aardvark, there's Laguna, there's like, and just like seeing like all these companies that are like such a part of our lives and being like, that's the people associated with them, and it's just it very much had that like, oh, it's like the dealer's hall or artist alley, but for clay.
It was so weird to see Amico because so many of my videos they were sponsored by them for a while, and then that contract kind of ended.
Yeah.
But it's so weird to see them because for a second they were like,
it's like, do we
know you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I have maybe 3 or 4 pictures of myself on Instagram.
Yeah.
And so there was a bit of like a.
Like a side eye, like, do I know you?
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to go up to them and be like, I'm Donte, I'm the guy you sponsored.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? But I also didn't want to schmooze. Yeah. I didn't want to schmooze too much.
Yeah.
Like, Shin was there, you know, the guy who makes the chatter tools.
Yeah.
Very great potter on YouTube especially. It's just, I didn't want to go up to him and be like, oh, I'm an also a YouTuber. Like, I didn't want to.
So you were trying not to fangirl, essentially.
I was trying not to yeah.
What I understand, and what I said multiple times over the course of NCECA, was that all of NCECA is just like a circle of fangirling.
Yes.
Which I love. Like, it's everyone is hella excited about everyone else. Did you do any mug trades with people?
I did a couple, but it was less that, like, I did a mug trade, and it was more that, like, one person came up to me and was like, oh, I ordered one of your, like, rainbow mugs, and I loved it, and I broke it. And I was like, oh, I got it on me right here. There we go. And she's like, what? And I was like, I got one of those, right? I got a crystal blue mug for you. And I just gave it to her, and she's like, really? And I was like, just take it. I remember their screen names, but not their actual names.
Yes.
And then one person gave me a book, a Cone 5, the only John Britt Cone 5-6 book I don't have.
Oh, yes, that was Becca.
Yes.
BEKAH.pottery. And, she's one of the cups, so we ended up doing a trade as well.
Yes.
But I brought some of the cups, some of the mugs and things that I did trades with, but literally I forgot 2 of them at my house because one I used to drink matcha out of, and then the other has been my, like...
One's in use.
2 of them are in use. The first was a matcha. The other one, which is the one that I got from Becca, has been my, like, stay hydrated while playing Skyrim for, like, 16 hours straight. You know?
Yeah, no, I understand. Skyrim still hasn't ended for me.
So, it's so good. But anyway.
Digress, yeah. It was great. No, it was, like...
So she gave you the book?
She gave me the book.
Yeah.
I put it on the bookshelf. Rebecca. And I was like, yeah. Well, you know, because you experiment with glazes if you make your own glazes. And every now and then I'm like, I'm going to concentrate for half a year on this one glaze.
Right.
But then you just go back to a book and go like, okay, what's this glaze? What can I do with it? Mm-hmm. How can I morph it? How can I change it? How can it serve my work for my clay? And then, but at this point I have so many books that I'm like, I don't think I'll ever need to buy any more glaze books. Yeah. This one was by John Britt, though. It's the only one I didn't have. Oh. I think she knew that, too. She was like, didn't you say you didn't have this one?
Yes.
And I was like, yeah, I don't.
Rebecca, thank you so much.
Damn, you actually listened to my words.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's so, we actually ran into her a couple of times, like...
She came to Clay Camp?
Yeah. Oh my god, Clay Camp was its own whole other thing that I should, like, talk about. So, like...
Right.
Yeah, so I was very... Or do you mind? Or did you...
I don't mind, but I should preface this by saying NCECA as a conference isn't just a building. It kind of has arms and legs, like branches, where they're connected to NCECA, but they're just like studios that are like, we'll put on this for NCECA because NCECA's in town. Yeah. And it'll have their own gallery. And there's buses that will take you around to those galleries.
Yes.
So if you're interested in going to NCECA, just know that the building itself is not the entire convention.
Yeah.
The city usually puts on art things in conjunction with NCECA, and Clay Camp was one of them.
Yeah. So Clay Camp was put on by Verge Center for the Arts, and it was, if you saw any of the live videos that I did, because I felt like such a good millennial, I did all the live videos, I have a bazillion messages to answer.
I did the hashtags. I deleted all my messages.
Oh my god.
I deleted all.
I
saw there was more than 30 and I was like, nope. That's why I tell you I always answer my messages real quick.
Yeah.
Because half of them are just like hearts of people who like my work.
Right.
And the other half are like, I itched my eye after I touch clay, what do I do? And I'm like, I'm not an expert on, wash your face, dog. Like, so I just deleted them. You have how do you not, I couldn't.
I'm basically, my plan is to sit down over the next couple days and get back to everybody, because I like that. I mean, like, because that's, oh god, I know I'm bouncing around. I was just about to talk about Clay Camp, and now I'm going to say this, but like, I think the biggest thing that was really cool about NCECA is that, like, again, and some of y'all probably heard me say this, but like, social media is so much like shouting into the void that like actually getting to meet the other people who are on the other side of the screen.
Oh my god, yes.
And especially like because some folks, you know, we had exchanged some messages like back and forth, and like that was its own whole cool experience. But then to meet like a bunch of other people who I maybe have never exchanged messages with on Instagram, but are still like, oh yeah, like I learned so much from you, or like I love the podcast, or things like that. So that was really special. But anyway, coming back to Clay Camp, so I can finish like one coherent thought at a time. But Clay Camp was really fun. So there were 2 different events. There was the event at Southside Park, which was the weekend before NCECA, and then there was the one at the Crocker Art Pavilion, which was the Saturday of NCECA.
I love Crocker.
I do too. It's a really cool place. The exhibition, the actual like NCECA exhibition at the Crocker was amazing. And it was really fun. Like, it was cool to get a chance to, like, to demo, to talk to people. It was also just in general nice to know that I could still talk to people, because 2 years of not going to conventions, of not having that, like, sort of presenter type of, you know, practice, or just, like, talking to strangers, it was really nice to know that I could still, like,
it's a skill
interact
for you.
With people. It is.
You're not just like that?
No.
You can learn it?
I mean, like, I think so.
I mean, I'm not interested at all in learning it. I just thought it was, like, you were born with it.
Well, no, I mean, like, I think it's, like, there's some of it that's just, like, natural within me, but then there are also, like, things that I've learned over the years that help me with that. Like one of the biggest things is kind of like, okay, you see someone at your table, or, because in this case, one of the things I did at Clay Camp, which was really fun, because in addition to just demonstrating on the wheel, I was talking to people. And so what I did is I had this little display set up that showed different stages of the ceramics process. So I had a cup that was fun. People actually seem to really like that, which I like. Cause,
people are curious, especially if you're not a potter. You're like, how does this work?
How does this work? Yeah. So, because most people are familiar with the like wheel throwing part of it, but then it's like, okay, what happens in between that and like a functional cup? So I showed different tools, 3 cups at the bisqueware, glazed and then glazed fired. And so one of the biggest things in those kind of situations is like, if you see somebody approaching the table and just kind of looking, what do you say to start out with? And I found that like having 1 or 2 different like phrases that I can say that is kind of like an introduction kind of helps. So if I see somebody looking, I can say, hey, just so you know, you're more than welcome to pick up and hold anything. The texture is half the fun. And that's enough to like establish contact so that if they want to talk, they can talk, and that can lead into other conversations.
Yeah.
And if they don't want to talk, they say, okay, thanks. And then cool, then you're done. But you like, so in terms of it, like interacting being a skill, like that's kind of one of those things, is like figuring out like in those kind of potentially awkward situations, what's a little in that you can have. So anyway,
I don't think about that at all.
I think about it probably too much.
For those of you who are so it's like Tim kind of warned me about this, and he was talking about how, not warned me, it's not a negative thing. He was like, yeah, when you go to NCECA, there's a certain amount of things that you can learn, and I think your job there is to kind of see what you can pull out of that. But he goes, after a while, you kind of, not that you've learned everything you need to learn, but it's more like you don't see anything that's a surprise to you anymore.
Right.
If I didn't know about diamond core and carving tools, I'm like, wow, these are cool. But now that I know about them, I'm like, that section is cut off to me. So Tim said that for the majority of the convention, it's really just meeting other people and making connections. And I was like, no, there's probably going to be some, blow me away, right? Some of the art there is fantastic.
Oh, God, yeah.
Top tier. Yeah. Really good stuff. Nothing that blew me away, though.
Okay.
Not to say that I didn't find it amazing.
Yeah.
Not to say that I want to do it. Not to say... But I was really hoping I would go to NCECA and pick up a skill or pick up a piece of knowledge that would transform my artwork entirely. And that didn't really happen.
Okay.
I don't know if it's because I didn't go to too many talks, but the talks that I did here and the one that I went to was very emotionally driven. A lot of people talk about, like, I got into clay because I went through a hard time in my life, and clay kind of pulled me from the depths.
Yeah,
it saved me in some way. And I appreciate that. I love that. I'm in a similar boat, right?
Yeah.
That being said, I don't know if I went to NCECA to hear Chicken Soup for the Soul with clay mixed in. You know what I mean? Like,
ooh, that's a bit of a dig.
I'm sorry.
That's a bit of a dig.
I felt really, but like, I've thought about it for a long time, and I was like, I really loved those talks.
Yeah.
But most of the talks were just that.
Yeah.
Where it was really heartfelt stuff, and I appreciated it the first 2 times.
Yeah. No, I mean, and that's fair. I think that's like, if that's not really what you were looking for.
Yeah.
I do think there was first of all, there were so many different talks to see. Like, some of them were more like narrative driven, like kind of like what you were saying.
Yeah.
Others were more like skill driven. And on that note, it was really, really fun to see Tasha do her demo.
Yeah, her carving.
Oh my God. Like, seeing her in this huge room, all these people there, she's got stage lights on her and 2 big screens, and she just killed it. She did such a great job, and so that was really fun.
Yeah.
But I hear what you're saying in terms of like if you were for someone who's a really, really experienced potter or a ceramic artist like yourself, like I could see how, like, depending on what you're looking for, you were wanting to find like this new technique that was going to completely blow your mind.
Yeah.
And I can understand your like frustration that didn't quite happen.
I think NCECA was just more of an experience, and I was like, I feel like I picked up a book and I expected a manual, but instead I got a story.
Oh, you know what I mean? That's an interesting...
And I don't... I'm not mad at the book.
Yeah.
Like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I was just kind of expecting to, like, pick up a book and learn a new piece of information I could use in my artwork.
Right.
But instead I picked up a book and I got really, like, beautiful stories. Yeah. Heartfelt, great stuff. Just not what I wanted. Like, not what I spent, like, $300 on a ticket to go see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To that extent, I think Tim was right. When I went, it was a lot of connecting.
Yeah.
By the way, if you were in the group of people that we kind of rolled with, especially on the last 2 days, thank you for putting up with me.
There wasn't much to put up with. I felt like you were very, like, chill, you know?
I tried I do understand, though, that, like, the first, like, week or two of hanging around me, I pretty much just ignore you. Until you engage with me.
Yeah.
Like, once you talk to me, I'll talk back, and I'll probably just be like, oh, yeah, whatever. But it kind of seems like I don't give a F.
Yeah.
Like, for some reason, like, people have told me, like, you kind of just seem like you ignored me. I'm like, I did, because I'm not social, or I'm nervous.
Yeah.
But I do realize a lot of people were like, I've been watching you for, like, 5 years, man. I know everything about you. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
there were a couple of times where I tried to be, like, if somebody mentioned anything about it, which didn't really happen. But I was just kind of like, yeah, like, you know, that's just, you know, Dante's just kind of, he's just nervous. You
gotta pull it out of me.
Yeah,
you have to engage with me. You have to, like... Don't be too excited. But you have to, like, talk to me, you know?
Yeah.
And I do appreciate those of you who hung out and, like, actively tried to engage with me, because I will not engage with you.
Yeah.
I feel bad saying that.
No.
But, like, I just straight up won't engage with you.
Man.
I'll leave you alone until you have something to say.
Yeah, I talked so much, and it was so much fun. Like, every day was something different, you know? Because I'm trying to think, like, in general, like, if I were to map out what the heck I even did all of NCECA. Like, okay, I remember the evenings, I think, the most, because there were 4 different evenings, right? So it was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday. So Wednesday was the keynote speech. Wednesday evening was the keynote speech.
Right.
And that was really cool.
Yeah.
Because we got to see, oh my gosh, Dolores Huerta speak, who was basically, like, heavily involved with Cesar Chavez. And so just hearing her speak about just, like, social movements and, like, community and getting involved was, like, really, really cool. And then I was super tired, so I, like, basically went home, like, right after that.
Yeah.
Then the second night, I met up with Nivea, who is of, I know I'm gonna, like, totally anglicize this pronunciation, but it's Crozier's Pottery. So anyway, so I met Nivea. And then Michael, and oh my gosh, I did not write down his username. But anyway, we went out to dinner and just had...
We met a lot of you.
Yeah. But it was really nice because, like, I was definitely, like, trying to manage, like, okay, I know that every day I only have so many social points. And at the end of the second day, I was already kind of getting tired, and there was an opportunity to go with a larger group to the show out at Alpha, and I really wanted to go, but I was also like, I think I only have like 2 hours of social points left, and then I'm gonna crash.
And then getting to Alpha is like a half an hour if you're fast about it.
Yeah,
there's no way.
It's a thing, yeah. So I ended up going out to dinner, and we had a really, really nice time. Very, like, intimate, like, talk. It was amazing how, like, quickly, like, with the, like, even just, like, the 3 of us were able to, like, open up and just be vulnerable with each other. So that was really cool. And then the third night, Friday night, was, like, that's when we had our big group. There was, like, 10 of us, and we all went and got, like, ramen, and there was, like, 10 of us, like, all squidged into this table.
Yeah, we had a table of 10, and we all squished in, and...
That's when we also met up with, Tim C. and, Natalie and Ray, again, from Pouty Pottery. Oh my gosh.
Pouty Pottery?
Pouty Pottery.
Pouty Pottery.
Yeah, Pouty Pottery.
By the way, shout out to Steve.
Yes! Oh my gosh, yes, Steve!
Steve's tight. Well, so I have this person that I've been in contact with for quite some time, since like 500 followers on Instagram, named Steve, or Steven, right? And, like, showed up.
It was great.
And I met them for the first time, and I was like, yeah!
Ooh,
yeah! Super cool person.
Oh.
Super cool.
There were a couple other folks who were also there, but I cannot, for the life of me, remember their names. I know Henry was one, and then, gosh, there were 2 other folks who I cannot remember. But anyway, if I'm forgetting your name...
faces.
Yes, I remember their faces
names.
too. Yeah, it's faces, and I don't remember some of their screen names, because some of them are literally meeting for the first time. But if I'm forgetting your names, I apologize. Like, it was a whirlwind. It was so much fun. Last day, Saturday, was we had clay camp all day.
Right.
And also, oh my gosh, like Zach is another person who was really, really cool to meet him, and he does amazing ceramic artwork. Anyway, so one of the extra fun things about Saturday was I actually ended up selling a sculpture.
Oh yeah!
Yes.
It's rare. It's rare for us to sell the good stuff.
Yes.
Most of us we buying cups and bowls. So when you buy vases or sculptures, we're like, yeah, let's make more.
Yeah. So the sculpture that I sold was Psychopomp, and I'll either post a picture or I will link to my website because you can see what it was. So Crystal is the person who bought it, and then she and her friends Cynthia and then Nevia and I all ended up like meeting here at the studio, and we hung out for like a good hour just like here in the studio. And then my mom was like, hey, like I made some pasta, like do you guys want to come in and have dinner and hang out? And we hung out there till like 10 or something like that.
Oh,
and then
nice.
it was so like amazing to like again just meet these people, just absolutely incredible individuals, and just like it had to have that energy, to have that like cohesion and like vulnerability and like sharing stories and just laughing and just all this stuff, you know. It's like that she like Cynthia's the one who when I was like I can't describe what this evening's been like, she was the one who was like it's cosmic, and I'm like yeah, it's cosmic, I love it. I can see that look on your face, but like that's what it felt like.
It sounds like a great time for a social person.
Well, yes. Oh yeah. For a social person like myself,
that sounds fantastic.
It was great
for someone who likes it.
Yeah. No, it would not have been.
I don't know how to put it.
It would not have been your jam.
Yeah.
I was like vibrating. Like, I mean, I was vibrating. Oh! Not like that, Donte. Oh my god.
You know who else likes to vibrate?
I was really exhausted, but just like super amped up.
Yeah.
And it was just this crazy, like, I don't know, it's hard to describe like the energy around it because it felt like an altered state of consciousness.
Yeah.
And I was literally just talking with people. But
I got home and I was like, baby.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm glad to be home with baby.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you had a more balanced experience at NCECA than I did, because I went hard for like 4 days.
You did.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
And I had to go on and off.
Yeah.
Because of baby. But
and
like,
you brought us food though, dude. I don't think I could have gone as hard without you bringing us food.
No, I mean, I just need to be there to support, really. Like, I was like, I'm not going to be in clay. Also, I have a year-long membership to, I have like for the next 2 years, I have a membership to Crocker.
Oh,
so
nice.
You could just kind of walk in if you have one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Crocker's, by the way, if I could sidestep, Crocker's amazing. Out of all the art galleries that I've ever been to, there's always like a bunch of paintings and a bunch of sculptures, and then there's somewhere where there's like a little area for pottery. Crocker is one of the few places that has like a pottery room. A room for ceramic artwork, not just pottery.
Yeah.
And I respect the hell out of that. For that, it will always get more this little place in Sacramento will always get more points than like the MoMA, which is constantly critically acclaimed. I've been to the MoMA, and it's a lot of like, you wouldn't get it art sometimes. And I don't feel that snootiness at the Crocker. It feels very warm and like enjoy yourself. There's a little bit of like introspective work, but it's not. Yeah. If you ever come to Sacramento, go to the Crocker. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Apparently, it has one of the biggest ceramics collections.
It does.
Like, I think in the West Coast, if not the country. It's
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
It's like surprising. Yeah, like you're saying, it's like this little, in Sacramento, which all things considered.
Yeah, right.
We're not like San Francisco. We're not like LA, and yet
some
we've got
people still
this
think LA
amazing
is the capital of California.
Yeah, some people do still think that. But I mean, that's fair.
I get it,
that's
yeah.
Fair. Yeah.
I get why they would say that.
So can I show some of the cups that I did mug trades with?
Yes. I have something to say also.
So we'll maybe save the cups for the end.
Okay.
And then for our listeners who maybe want to, because I guess at the very end of the show we'll say like, okay, now we're gonna do like the thing. So if you want to hop over and actually see the cups, then you can. If you're a listener, you can do that. I'm also gonna be posting them on my social media. But
That's nice.
Anyway, yeah. Okay. So what are some of the other things that you want to cover from NCECA?
It's not so much cover. It's more that like, I don't know where we would start this. There's definitely a vibe at NCECA that I picked up. And I don't know if you might feel some kind of way about it too.
Okay. Say things. Say things.
Being at NCECA, I wasn't blown away by any of the work, nor did I pick up any new skills. But I definitely picked up an air of like, oh, you make cups? That's cute.
Oh, really?
Oh, a little bit. I noticed that all of the work that was put on pedestals were not straight out pottery.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then the room in the side that was like, oh, these are free. You can just fucking pick these up. Was the mug room.
Those were not free.
They're not free?
No. So the mug room the mug room that you're talking about. So that was actually really cool. I wish to God I had spent more time in that room.
I saw a Hammerly piece there and I was tempted to like take it.
Yeah, no. They are not there. So essentially what that is they do a cup sale every year.
Okay.
And you as the artist donate the piece, but the piece is for sale. But I wish that I had spent more time there because I spent probably 20 minutes just at one table. There were, I think, like
4 or 5 table.
There were easily 300, 400 cups in that room.
Easily.
Yeah, it was amazing. But I hear what you're, and then the money goes to fund like scholarships and things like that for NCECA. But I hear what you're saying because it's true. Like the work that was on pedestals there was some wheel thrown work, but a lot of it was sculpture.
Altered sculpture.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I noticed that all the work and the names attached to the work that were, I don't want to use the word respected, but a bit more admonished than just like mugs and functional work and cups or what most people would call craft work, were just on a high, like the vibe was like, it's just a higher tier. And I went from like, I'm an artist, which I am, I'm not trying to put shit on anybody.
Yeah.
But I went from like, I'm good at what I do, to walking out and being like, I'm a piece of shit that just makes cups.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I got in my head so hard.
No, dude, that sucks.
Oh, we're about to kill the old Donte.
No.
100%.
Tell me more about like what that was like going into that hole, and then like, because it sounds like you maybe got out of it, or you're like, so tell me what you're thinking about.
Oh, I dug that shit deeper.
Tell me.
So like it's weird because I realize that there's definitely a space in between. I have a couple feelings on it, but I definitely feel some type of way about like going into an art gallery and then everyone's like, oh my god, such a beautiful piece. Oh my god, so amazing, so amazing. Oh, a cup. Look at this beautiful sculpture. You know what I mean? Like that's the vibe I got there, and it's. There's 2 things I think I could say. Number 1, I think I need to go more into sculptural work, or at least building a niche for myself that isn't just like, I got a base glaze and put a drippy glaze over it and that's my whole identity. Or hear me out, on the other side, I think NCECA probably could have done a better job at presenting work that wasn't necessarily functional, but was definitely done on the wheel. Like some Don Ellis work, or even I have some work of like big porcelain vases that are about this size. But I didn't see any, if many of those there. I didn't see a lot of pots. I didn't see a lot of pots or pottery that were admonished and put on a pedestal. I saw a lot of sculptures. Yeah. And they were amazing.
Yeah.
Top tier.
Oh my god.
I can't be mad at them.
Yeah.
But the representation for pottery in general versus sculpture was clearly skewed. Clearly skewed in one direction over the other. And that's the vibe that I got.
Interesting.
And I don't know if you picked it up.
I didn't pick it up from the people, but once actually it was interesting. I don't know if they would be comfortable with me saying their name conceivably, but anyway, I was talking with somebody and they actually pointed out something similar where they were like, yeah, it's interesting that all the stuff that's on pedestals is mostly sculptural work. And it's interesting because it's like, part of me wonders if was sculptural work formerly like not represented as much, so now it's like slightly overcompensating, or has there always been this division between like, art and then like craft, with like pottery functional work being on the lower tier?
That is a good question.
I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I did the prestige associated with sculptures versus like, cause I didn't see a single like just cup on a pedestal, which is interesting to think about, like why
there seems to be a divide.
Yeah.
And I don't know where the divide is. All I know is that I hate it, and I'm either gonna jump the divide or I'm gonna crumble it. After NCECA, I'm like, I'm either tearing this down or I'm jumping the fence. Like there's no third option for me.
So it's interesting. This kind of reminds me of like the proposal that I actually sent into NCECA to like, because I was like, oh, I should submit a proposal. It's in Sacramento, and one of the things that I was going to talk about. So how do I say? Like my journey with like clay and ceramics has been weird because I also came from like an art world perspective of like, I went to school at UC Santa Cruz. They didn't really teach ceramics. You know, so it's like, and also like not really feeling super at home in the art world or even necessarily always within the ceramics world.
Yeah.
It's like, I've always kind of felt like, oh yeah, like I'm also like a big ass nerd. Like I love films. I love the film and video game industry. Like I connect, my biggest like idols are not people who are in the ceramics world.
100%.
They're people who are in like the film and video game industry.
Just the art world in general. Like, my favorite artists are not all potters.
Well, yeah, not all. I mean, we have
ceramic artists.
We both have favorites who are, you know, like you told me about some of the artists that you really appreciate, and I have some as well. But like to me, your experience of like noticing that divide between like the sculptural work and the functional like pottery, like mug pieces, kind of reminds me of that like overall the importance of finding your community where your community is. Because I think there's some folks feel super at home in NCECA. Yes. That's great. Like, hell yeah, good for them. Yes. There's some folks that feel more at home in their online communities. Great, that's awesome. Like, stick with that. Like, because I feel like, and I might just be projecting my own experiences onto yours.
I've been doing it all day.
Please. Oh yeah.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
But like, my thought is like, with your reaction to like, oh, I need to go make more functional work or more like sculptural work, is kind of like, it kind of reminds me of like when I was feeling, when I kind of felt like, oh, I have to, like, to be a real artist, I need to have my work in gallery shows. I need to sell, like, my sculptures through gallery shows. I need to win these art show awards, you know, and it's kind of like, yes, that would be a good thing, but it's also, like, that's not necessarily going to meet my goals for success, which means, like, selling enough pieces to be able to support myself financially, or, you know, and again, there's so many different ways to do that, but
of course.
I guess essentially what I'm trying to say is that, like, just because this one area presents a certain level of prestige doesn't mean that you have to conform to that to acquire your own prestige or to feel good about the work that you're doing.
That is
because
fair.
Yeah, because there are so many artists that make amazing functional pots that would never have one of their pieces in an art show, but that does not mean that their work is not valid.
No, that's absolutely fair. Yeah. But I think, you know, the discussion we have all the time about like capital A art versus little a art.
Right.
The convention felt like 80% of them going like, yeah, we can all make cups, but which one do you make sculpture? You know what I mean? Like,
interesting.
It felt like a, you know, when I was younger and I started ceramic artwork, I felt as if I had a talent. Because, and I'm just making a comparison.
Right.
I felt as though I had a talent because I can make things out of clay that are functional, right? Mm-hmm. But then you go to NCECA and everyone's like, it's not really a talent for us. We can kind of all do that. The talented ones among us, or the ones that are considered skilled among us, are the ones that can do that and more.
Oh, that's bullshit, though.
Is it, though?
I think it's bullshit. I mean, in terms of, like, because not everyone wants to do sculptural pieces. That doesn't mean you're not good, or that doesn't mean that you're not, like, worthy of having your pieces, like,
well, that's true,
you know.
but I don't think my stance is whether you want to or you're not worthy as an artist because you do only do functional work. I think my stance is NCECA's like, we kind of only care if you don't make, like, we don't care if you make cups and bowls all day. Like, that's not what makes you an artist to us.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, no,
we can all fucking do that.
That, like, I hear, okay, yeah. I hear you on that. I hear you on that.
That's what I mean.
I don't think, and I'm curious what you feel about this, but, like, I don't think I got that vibe from the attendees.
No, not the attendees.
Okay, yeah.
Just what I saw around.
Interesting.
I didn't go to many talks. Yeah. But I didn't go to many talks where someone's like, I just make my cups. Like, every talk that I overheard, or I stood next to the door, I went to one talk, was like, yeah, I do sculpture, and, like, these are my emotions on sculpture. And you know what I mean? Like, it was a lot of emotional talk.
Yeah.
But I didn't, I don't know.
Well, I feel like that's...
I probably should have went to all the talks before I say something like that. Okay. I should have went to, like, 7 talks.
Well, no, okay. Well, I mean, I feel like it's okay to be like, oh, yeah, I went to this one talk and this experience with this one. Like, it's fine to be like, to say your... But you wouldn't want to be like, oh, yeah, all the talks were like that, because you don't know.
Well, you can't really say you like pudding if you haven't had every flavor of pudding. You just like chocolate pudding. You can't... You're not a valid pudding eater.
Oh, my goodness. Not quite like that. It's about making generalizations. Yeah. But I think, like, what is interesting about that is that I feel like that comes down to, like, the difference between how people present themselves in terms of, like, how they talk about it. Because in my mind, like, I could easily say, I make geeky mugs. Or I could say, I draw upon humanity's history of using monsters to parallel human experiences.
You do both, though.
I do both, but what I'm saying is that, like, in terms of when you were talking about how you'd go to the talks and it was a lot of, like, emotional talk, it wasn't just, like, I make pots.
Oh, you're saying it's same.
Yeah, or, like I'm saying, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that people that, like, that comes down to, because I know you don't like writing artist statements, right?
Oh, I hate writing artist statements.
And I feel like that's an example of how having an artist statement raises perceived prestige. Because even if you just, quote unquote, just make cups and mugs, if you can talk about why you do that on a deeper, quote unquote, deeper level, potentially, not that everyone has to do this, but if you do that, I feel like conventions, or at least my understanding of how these things work, in my mind, I go, okay, you're more likely to be accepted to talk at one of these conventions if you have an artist statement about why you make cups and bowls, as opposed to if you did not. Because I feel like if you make cups and mugs and you don't have, like, that other level of artist statement, I feel like my assumption is, okay, then it's going to be about, like, the business side. Yes. Like, it's going to be about, okay, how do you make, like, production work to be able to sustain your ceramics?
Yeah.
You know, but it's kind of like there's got to be a message one way or the other.
Yeah.
I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I don't know. Like, I haven't met anyone who kind of owns, but, like, runs NCECA enough for them to be like, oh yeah, we're just concentrating on, like, it could be as simple as we were just concentrating on sculpture this year. We're giving them their moment in the sun, and I might be, like, too far into my head. I might just be projecting because I need something more than cups. Like, I'm starting to dig a little bit of a resentment for cups. A little bit. I'm starting to, like, I look at my shelf and it's like 80% cups because all you guys buy are cups. But, like, for the people who are like, I want you to stop making cups, I'm like, well, stop buying cups.
Yeah.
You know, so it's very I don't know. It might just be me. I think if I was to look introspectively, I think I went to a convention where I saw a lot of people fawning over sculpture work and not just, like, little cups. And the cups were kind of, like, put to the side a little bit. And now I'm like, okay, so it's very clear to me that if I want to have any name at NCECA, I need to make not cups. I think that's the short of it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I guess what I would ask is, why do you feel like you need a name at NCECA? Or do you? Do you even want that?
I want my own room.
I want my own room. Okay.
I would love to be like, well, it doesn't really matter because I validate myself as a... No, I'm not playing that weird sussy shit. No, I want my own room. Not sus. I mean, super sus, I say. I want my own room. I want to be up there with Lindsey, and when someone's like, how long did it take you? I want to I just want to be like, it took me like 5 months to figure it out.
What?
Yep, I want to just lie.
Oh my God, Donte.
It's like when people are like...
I hope you realize that if you lie about that shit, I'm going to call you out.
You should. I don't know how many other people felt that way, and I can't figure out whether it's a reality that I picked up that energy, not from the attendance, more from the, you know.
Yeah.
Or, because I want to be very clear about this, if you go to NCECA, you won't feel that from the people there.
Yeah, everyone was so freaking nice.
Everybody was nice.
It's insane. It, like, fed my soul so much. Yeah. Not to sound cheesy, that's a hella cheesy thing to say.
I mean, but I experienced a lot of cheese at NCECA, so I can't,
cheese. Literally, we were talking about cheese for a while. Anyway, Ray and I were talking about cheese. Carry on.
Lindsey has a cheese thing.
I love cheese. I'm a white girl. Of course I love cheese.
Is that a white thing?
I think it's a people thing.
I know cheese and wine is.
Yeah, cheese and wine.
That's not food.
I'm not as into wine as I am cheese. But carry on. Anyway.
Lindsey's got a cheese journal.
I do. I used to. Then I realized that it was too much effort to keep track of, but I actually had a page.
Oh, was the cheese journal too much effort?
I had a page in my bullet journal for all the different cheeses that I tried. But then I realized that, like, I actually now have a sense of what kind of cheeses I like, so now I just pick a cheese that I like and then...
So the cheese journal was to figure out what cheese you like. It wasn't to keep track of just cheese.
Yes, no, it was to figure out what kind of cheeses I like. Because I would try a cheese and I'd go, okay, did I like this or did I not like this?
Mine, I thought it was the opposite. Oh. I thought that you tried all the cheeses and you're like, yes, smoky flavor.
Yeah. No, I mean that too. I definitely wrote down flavor notes.
Okay, all right.
Anyway, sorry. Carry on. Let's get back to NCECA.
Yeah. No, I just want you to know if you go to NCECA, you most likely won't pick up nobody's going to talk down to you because you make cups or bowls or anything like that. Like, no one's going to do that to you. Everyone's valid in their own experience. And I honestly, if I were to give my honest opinion, if you are a beginner in ceramic art, I think you should go to experience all the things that the companies in the ceramic art world has to offer. Mm-hmm. But I think if you're more experienced and more seasoned in the art world, I don't want to toot my own horn, but, like, I've been there for a second. I think a lot of my experience was going there to meet people and to make connections.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that. Like, I mean, I'm sure if I had gone to more of the talks, I would have, like...
Picked something up.
Yeah, because, I mean, well, even going to Tasha's talk, like, even though I've done some carving, hearing how she talked about, like, different techniques, like, I still learned something.
Yes.
But it was kind of like, for me, it was just in general, like, I was less... Like, how do I say? Because it's kind of like, I feel like I can learn, like, I can go and I can learn specific techniques online. I can't meet people in person online. It just doesn't work that way.
Right, the social aspect is completely taken out of it online.
Yeah.
100%.
So for me, I was definitely more like, I'm here to meet people and to talk to people and that's kind of what I was more interested in going to.
I agree.
Yeah.
I wanted to see the vibe too, because like, you know, when you talk to somebody online you've never met, you're kind of like, I don't know the context or the way or their tone.
Yeah.
But when you meet them in person, now when I text him, I imagine his tone, and I assume he imagines mine as well.
Yeah.
So there's no like weird, not that there was, but there's no weird like, did he mean it that way in the air?
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now that I've met people, I'm like, I know exactly how you talk. Like I know how you present, how you walk, your body language. I can imagine that when I talk to you.
Right.
And you can't get that online a lot.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
And just the unexpected like conversations that popped up. Like I didn't even intend to have some of the conversations I ended up having. They just like happened organically, and that was really, really cool.
We got invited to Tim's party.
We did.
We got invited to Tim's party like a couple of times actually.
And then
we couldn't go. We were too burnt.
Yeah, hella.
I'm sorry if you're listening, Tim. I'm so sorry.
Sorry, Tim.
Yeah, but I will say it's cool to be invited. Like I felt like the kid at high school who was just like, "Want to come to our party?" And I'm like, "Oh, the cool Potters asked us to hang out with it." You know what I mean?
Oh no, I definitely did that. Yeah. I definitely did. I was like, Tim, Tim.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think it was just like them hanging out at their Airbnb. I don't think it was like
well, for the first time, I thought it was like he was just being nice, and then the next day he was like, "If you guys still want to come by," I was like, "He meant it because he did it twice."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I still feel bad that we weren't able to.
I think he understood because like I have a baby and we have stuff to do. Like, you know, like I was like, I gotta get home to the kid. Was it on on Friday morning, I was chatting with my ceramics friend, and she was like, "You're tired, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Hella tired.
Super tired. And then eventually I got a little bit more energy, but...
By the way, when we went to like go get... So like Lindsey and I are from Sacramento.
Yeah.
So when everybody's like, "What are we getting for food?" They look directly at me and Lindsey.
Yeah.
And we were like, well, all right, we're at the convention center. There's a bunch of food here. Let's go. So we kind of Sherpa'd everybody around. But we took them through the Capitol, and the Capitol has the most beautiful, amazing, large... Yes. And like half of them were like, "Is that a mother-ing orange tree?" And we're like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Can we pick them?" I'm like, "Well, like, we're not supposed to, but like, who's gonna stop us?"
I mean, I think we can.
We're not supposed to.
We're not supposed to? Oh, okay.
But like, they started like climbing the trees.
Oh my god.
And getting oranges. And they were so excited.
Great. Yeah.
They were like, "Oh, an orange!"
Yeah, and we're like...
Tim was like, "Why are your mosquitoes so big?" And I was like, "Those are the little ones." And he was like, "Why?" They ate ramen and they were like, "This is the best ramen ever." And I was like, if you're not from Sacramento, Sacramento's like a really big melting pot. Like
we're hella diverse.
We're not like Utah where there's like 90% one flavor of person, and then there's like 10% you're like, "Oh, I'm 1/10 Cherokee" or whatever. It's none of that. Like we have a very large Hmong community and Asian community and Viet community, and because of it, we have some of the best Asian food. I took them to ramen. Not even like a good ramen place.
It was. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was like...
I give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
But that's because like, I'm like an anime snob, so like, you know what I mean? Like I'm like, this ain't good ramen. The best ramen place in town closed down, Shoki. It's gone now. So we went to Ramen 101 and they're like, "Oh, so good."
Speaking of like Sacramento being a melting pot, one thing that I did hear from I can't remember who told me this, but they were like, it's the most like diverse that they've seen NCECA in a really long time. Really? Yeah, because NCECA, like one of the issues with NCECA is that like again because the ticket price is so expensive, and it just because of the way that like the pottery world is access to who gets access to learning ceramics and stuff. Like a lot of the NCECAs tend to be pretty much like just like a lot of white people. So somebody was saying that like they actually saw like a fairly diverse crowd at NCECA this year, which is pretty cool.
It's almost like, this is twofold. It's almost like there's someone online who got tired of all the clay education being held by like an upper class group of people who seem to historically have a lot of money for some reason.
Can't imagine why.
I don't know who that, and then like that person, God bless his soul, was like, I'm gonna give you this education for free. So for those people who have less money and want to do this by themselves, they made themselves a pseudo teacher for those people. And it's almost like some of those people might have started to become part of the clay community. And they're not all old white ladies.
Yeah. Not that there's anything...
I don't know who he is!
No idea. Guys, I'm gonna tell you a little secret. It's Donte.
There's a lot. It's not just me. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Like, Tim, like, clearly, Tim's not making YouTube videos like, oh, I only hope that certain people look at this. But if you were to get serious for a second, like, historically speaking, the amount of people who have had money, who have times... Because in order to do clay, think about this. You can't live in an apartment unless you go to a studio. The studio costs a lot of money. You have to have a house. You have to have enough money to hook up a kiln. Then you have to have so much money just to get started.
Yeah.
$3,000 on the low end.
And that's not even acknowledging the idea that, like, who's even exposed to ceramics in the first place.
100%.
Because it's not like a lot of, like, not like even a lot of, not just like low income, like, like public schools, but like just schools in general, like, don't have a lot of these like ceramics programs. That's like one of the biggest things that they were like pushing for with Clay Camp is that it was a free, family friendly event to like get kids exposed to clay. And like ultimately the goal is to have clay and ceramics in like every school.
At least give you a good experience, if not be accessible.
Yeah.
Like if a corporation that has enough money can't give it to you, like, oh, we have enough money to just let you have it for a bit. At least get them exposed to it so they can have an avenue to go down, so there's more representation for certain people.
Right.
But historically speaking, this craft takes a stupid amount of money, time, and space.
Yeah.
And the people who have had those three things in surplus have not been the disenfranchised.
Right.
Like, people living paycheck to paycheck aren't worried about having the finest handcrafted porcelain. Like, it's just not a thing. So on the note of NCECA being more diverse, I'm super happy about it. I'm elated.
So, you ready to share?
Yeah.
So, for our dear viewers who are seeing this mauled sculpture before you, one of the sad things that happened at NCECA is one of my sculptures broke. So, at the show was called Luminaries, I had 4 sculptures, and one of the sculptures, basically there were a couple different things that went wrong. First of all, the sculpture in general is a bit top heavy. It's one of the taller sculptures that I've made, and I kept thinking, oh, I need to like add some weights to the bottom of this thing. So that's problem number 1. Problem number 2 is that there was not museum wax. So normally my understanding is that when there are like gallery shows, like everyone like holds the pieces down with museum wax.
So it doesn't wobble.
Right, so it doesn't wobble. And apparently I guess that's not a standard thing. And the third thing is that the pedestal itself was a little wobbly. And so when someone knocked it with their backpack...
Yeah, the backpacks were an issue.
So like all of those things stacked up and the piece toppled over. It is in shards.
Yeah.
And I'm sad, but it's also like oh my god, the person who knocked it over felt so bad, like literally on the verge of tears, and I'm like, can I give you a hug? Like it's okay, It's
the fact you feel bad makes it better than just being like, whatever.
Oh my god, yeah. If that had been the case, I would have been like, you're paying for this or something, I mean, it's a sticky situation. It is definitely one of those things where it's like I can see why like people, because I think there's a thing where as an artist you can buy like temporary insurance for your pieces.
Yeah.
Because the gallery itself, like you had to sign a waiver saying that you wouldn't like sue if anything broke.
Right.
So, so it's definitely a learning experience, but I think I might actually try and kintsugi it. And that actually kind of reminds me of one of the like things that I did, like one of the surprising things that I learned at NCECA or that I guess I got out of like the talks at NCECA, because I went to 3 talks. I went to Natasha's demonstration, I went to Sue Bean's talk, I caught the tail end of his talk, and then I saw, I can't remember the name of the person who was doing the speaking, but she was giving a talk on kintsugi, and I just kind of stood in the doorway and listened in, and it was a nice, like, different perspective on it, because, like, so often it's like, we hear people talk about kintsugi all the time, it kind of becomes like its own stereotype, but actually hearing someone go back and talk about the like the true rich history of kintsugi gave me another, like, a renewed respect for it, beyond just it being a you know, like a thing that somebody sends you on Facebook every now and then. Not that because I still actually like that, because honestly, anytime anyone sends me anything, like, I'm always like, oh, you thought of me. Like, that's really sweet. It doesn't matter if I've seen that video 10 times already. I'm just stoked that you thought of me and that you sent it to me.
I just, like, it's been too long for me. I'm stoked, but, like, more than 3 of those a week, and I'm like, no. You know.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. We both have different experiences.
It's always your auntie, too. It's always, like, your aunts or something that's like, oh, my God, look at this pot. Even though something traumatic might have happened to it, it's been repaired better than before. And I'm like, I get it. You're projecting.
Well, I mean, but like...
I get it, auntie. Like you've been through some... Me too. Calm it down.
For real, though. I mean, like, I think what I appreciated is it was the speaker saying that, but it didn't sound cheesy. You know, because I mean, it really is like it's a powerful message, and that's part of the reason why it's like it's a method that has lasted so long. You know, so yeah, I came out of it having like a renewed respect for kintsugi. Not that I ever had like a disrespect for it, but it's like I always thought about it within a certain context, and now I have a new context for thinking about it. Yeah. So I think I might actually try and piece this back together, but we'll see. You know, don't hold your breath.
Well, you know, I think it looked good kintsugi. Yeah. And I'm not annoyed by kintsugi. Well, yeah,
I mean,
I am.
You trash on it literally every time we talk about it.
Yeah, no, I want to say I don't dislike kintsugi, and I've done it before, and I liked it. My issue is that like it's mentioned far too. It's almost at the same level of the movie Ghost for me. Like, I don't even hate the movie Ghost. I think it's a great movie. I love Whoopi Goldberg, but like it's mentioned so often by those of us who are not initiated into the clay community or like into that culture that like they don't understand that like it's almost like asking a fish if they swim. You're like, yeah, I'm a fish, dude. Like, I'm already here. You know, it's just mentioned so often that whenever somebody mentions it to me, I'm like, alarms go off in my head. I'm like, all right. You gonna ask me about marbleizing clay too? Like, yeah, you are. Okay. I've seen the movie Ghost. Yeah. Yes, I know about Patch. I've seen the. Yeah, I've seen it. It's like it falls in a line of. And I do agree. It's a beautiful, powerful message. I've just heard it so often that it's kind of worn off on me. That's I've become
fair.
Very jaded by the message.
That's fair.
Especially because it's backed by mostly like middle-class white ladies who have some kind of fetishism with porcelain and kintsugi, who are sharing a simple post on Facebook and then will go ask for the manager. Like, it's like the field of people who are obsessed with kintsugi are mostly just Karens to me.
Within your experience.
Within my experience, yes. Yes.
I just had such a nice time.
I had a great time. I think next year I might try for a panel. I hope next year that like Lindsey and I can give a talk on like social media or like our art style, or you know what I mean, something of that nature. Or I hope Amico is like, oh hey, like, you know. Yeah. I would have liked if a company shook my hand and was like, thanks for, like, you know, because a lot of people like Amico now because of my videos. And I was kind of waiting for Amico to be like, oh, dude, you've basically been doing free advertisement for us. Yeah. Forever. Like, yeah, like, cool. And I wanted to, I don't know, I kind of wanted to, like, chalk it up with them. Yeah. But they were busy and I don't want to get in their hair. Yeah. Yeah. Or, like, saw Aardvark. So Imco.
That was so cool.
Scut and Diamond Core. Like, all the big companies were there. All the big companies. Saw Peter Pugger. And Diamond Core had, like, all their carving tools out. And you could carve little pieces of clay. And you can try the carving tools out. Yeah. Oh, it was beautiful.
So cool.
So Scut had their kilns out. Big Chungus kilns. Dirty Girls Pottery was there. Yeah. Shippenfield? Shinefield? Shinefield? I don't know. Shinefield
Giff and Grip was there.
Giff and Grip was definitely there. Yeah. Yeah, they were there. They sure were. They sure was there.
Your saltiness brings me pleasure.
I'm just excited about companies. I don't hate Giff and Grip. But, well, it's somebody, we were talking about it in the group, and I think somebody put it fairly well, and they were like, yeah, it's just a tool that's specialized to do one thing when I can do this, like, it's a very expensive tool that's specialized to do one very specific thing that I can already do, so I have no need for it. For those of you who need it for that one thing, that's, like, I'm no judgment on you, but, like, I just wouldn't spend a lot of money on a tool that does something I already know how to do. Yeah. But I only think that's the case because I already know how to do it.
Yeah.
But for anyone who came up in the clay world who never gained that skill, it's like, well, you clearly need the tool.
Yeah.
It's kind of like seeing somebody ride on training wheels. Like, I wouldn't get training wheels because I know how to ride a bike.
Right.
But if I'm still learning, like, I understand training wheels.
Can I show my cups real quick?
Sorry, yeah. Sorry.
No, that's okay. For our listeners, this is where we're going to start. We're just going to real briefly show some of the mugs that I did mug trades with. 2 of them, I will say which ones are still at home. But, okay, so if you want to hop over onto YouTube, or if you're already on YouTube, you're already seeing this, so yay. So this is a piece I got from Pilar Swanson. So it's PILAR.SWANSON. And then I got this one from Crozier's Pottery. It's CROZIERS.pottery. And it's Nivea's work. And then I got this one. I'm so terribly sorry I'm spacing out on your name, but I know your Instagram name. It's Studio D'Amelie. I met this person and his wife, and I met him at the clay camp. Really, really great time, and I'm super excited about this wee babe. And then I got this bat. I got this bat from Evie the Chang.
That bat's cute.
I love it so much. It is so cute. Its little wing snapped off in my where it was already broken and then repaired, and then I was rough with it in my backpack, so I've gotta repair it.
I usually have a dislike for like just pottery with like a face on it, but I like that a lot.
I like it too. And then this one, I do not know who the artist was, but I got it for taking a picture of the Clay Buddies group.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so it's a pretty little thing. And then I got a coin from Tim C.
There's a story. There's stories behind these coins.
Yeah.
But you're not allowed to.
It's an in-person thing.
It's an in-person thing. It has to be from mouth to ear.
Yeah. And that was literally my thought too. I'm like, we're here about your car's extended warranty. You know? Oh, all right. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this extra long episode. It is but a fraction of all the craziness that happened over in NCECA.
Yeah.
And we hope you all have enjoyed this this little talk. And I don't know about you, Bonte. That's terrible. Clearly my energies are fading, but I think we should continue our pre-NCECA interview series into post-NCECA, because there's still a lot of really awesome ceramics organizations and artists and stuff that I'd love to get the chance to talk with. So
it's
NCECA all year and in Sacramento.